Okay, let's get this underway. So, welcome to this training. My name is Helen Flitcroft, and I'm a mindset and relationship coach at Stellar Humans. I work with gritty, high achievers, people with tenacity, people who have a big vision and know where it is that they want to go, and they're on the path to getting to that point as well. And I just help people speed up that process. So, I'm excited about this webinar today. Because I have already recorded it and it was such an amazing webinar. I was full of passion and drive, and I was like just committed to you guys achieving what it is that you want to achieve, and I realized I had not turned my headset on. So I'm just going to make sure I have. Yes, we're on. I believe we're recording, and this is really happening. Okay, so before we begin, actually, no. So I'm going to just jump straight into the presentation. And if I share my screen with you guys, we'll go here. Share. Awesome. Okay, so clearly you've come along to a webinar about how to live your F-Yes life, okay? And the subtitle under this is The Think and Grow Rich Secret. So Think and Grow Rich was a book written by Napoleon Hill back in 1937. If you don't know who Napoleon Hill is, I highly recommend that you go and read that book. He's pretty much known as the grandfather of personal development. And in his book, you know, he says that what you need to do basically to create your F-Yes lifestyle, even back then, was that you need to know what you want. You need to believe that you can have it. You need to have a burning desire for its achievement, and you need to get into the feeling of having it already, plus taking action towards it. And basically, that's my process. That's my process in taking somebody from their point A to their point B in a more direct, faster line. Okay, so the first question is, you know, what is peak performance? I'm interested in peak performance. I'm interested in people living their very, very, very best life. Now, there's a chap called Robert Kirby, and he's a coach. He lives in Australia. And I quite like what he has to say about peak performance. I'm not sure if you can see me sharing my screen here or not, but that's all right. So what he says, peak performance is a state that is also known as peak experience. Okay, so that's important. And it is the zone of optimal functioning and flow. It refers to a moment when an individual has it all together, when they are in the zone, when everything flows in a unified direction, and that's the key there, and when they achieve an exceptional performance. So believe it or not, to be in a vibration, we'll talk about vibration a lot today, believe it or not, to be in a vibration of effortless flow is actually possible on a permanent basis. He says there are a few exceptions, but being in the flow state means that what you want or desire is at the palm of your hands. Okay, you get that, don't you? It's just there. We're just stretching for it. It's just beyond what we're capable of. Or we in the past has told us what we're capable of, but it's right there. And that's the state that I help people to get in, you know, and helping everyone to get everything focused and aligned on achieving that thing which is just out of reach. All right, so let's go back to how do I do this? Tech. I don't want to stop sharing, but I do want to get out of this screen. And if I go like this, yeah, okay, great, we're back. So let's go. Let's get rid of that. Down there. Right, so before we begin, let's set an intention. Let's talk about, you know, why is it that I'm sharing this? And there's a fellow called Greg Braden, and I might talk about him a little bit. He's a scientist. He's doing a really wonderful job of bridging the gap between spirituality and what people might consider the woo-woo and science is getting smaller and smaller and smaller every day. In fact, I'm not sure that there actually is much of a gap when it comes to what science has been able to prove. It's just our understanding, the depth of our understanding, which is where the gap is currently. So anyway, what Greg says, he says, before we begin, it's always good to ask yourself, if you're about to share something from your heart, a few questions. And the first question, so I'm asking this from myself because I'm sharing it with you today, is why am I sharing this? Who will benefit and how? Okay, so there's a number of reasons. So getting our intentions on the table here. I'm hoping to connect with the right people. I love watching people be their excellent self, stretching for something and achieving something that before was just out of reach. So part of my intention through this training is to connect with the right people who may like to work with me moving forwards. And you can put your credit cards away. You can't actually buy anything on this webinar, so you can just relax into the training. That's one of my intentions. My intention is to get through this in about 90 minutes or so. It's not a short webinar, it's a training, but this training also forms the basis and the foundations of, if you are to work with me, that we've already been through all of this, so it's an efficiency measure as well. It also means that if you do, we're still together at the end of this training, that we've got a fairly good idea that, moving into a strategy session or having a conversation is probably a good idea for both of us. All right, so that's the first question, who will benefit from how? So and how? In particular, exactly who? So who is the right person for me? The gritty, tenacious entrepreneur, and even if you're not that person, what I've got to teach is universal. You can apply this to any area of life. All right, so anybody can really benefit. And how will they benefit? By seeing that change is possible and knowing what the next steps, getting awareness of what it is in your self-sabotage patterns that are holding you back, and then knowing that you can change if you choose. All right, so that's how you'll benefit. Will anyone be hurt by sharing this? I don't think so. No, only that, once you see things, you can't unsee them. So if you're not really ready for change, if you're not really serious about living your yes life, perhaps just go away now, because we might bring some awareness to your experience that you can't become unaware of anymore. And then the question is, well, now that I know this, what am I going to do about it? All right. Okay. And before I move to the next slide, what's your intention for being here? You wouldn't be here if something hadn't called you, to this moment. And in fact, I'm just going to give you a moment to grab a pen and paper because you'll need it. So I'll give you a few moments to do that. In fact, this will be recorded. So instead of me giving you time, for those people that have already got pen and paper handy, we'll just dive right in. If you haven't, just press pause, go get yourself pen and paper now. So my first question to you is to, what is your intention? Why are you here? Okay, so just write that down now. All right, so my goal today is to show you some science and techniques that you really must understand. So we're talking about understanding, we're talking about foundations, the things that you need to understand in order to change your attraction point. And an exact step, week by week process, guaranteed to live your FYES lifestyle now. So after 10 years in business and 8 years in personal development, like steeped in personal development, this is the very best mindset learnings that I've come across, and I'm a mindset coach. It's what I do. And the cool thing is that it's also been taught to me by some of my personal coaches and mentors as well. So it's kind of like the best of the best distilled into a foundational training for you today. All right. So let's consider something. I'd like you to consider gravity. Gravity exists. We know this. It's a force that exists in our universe and that we're all subject to. And it's an effective force. Yet it is superseded by lift. Gravity exists yet is superseded by lift, something that is even greater than itself. All right, so on that same token, we know that hard work exists, and if you're the kind of person that I love to work with, you definitely know that hard work exists. But my guess is that you've probably realized where your hard work maxes out as well. It exists, and it is a force to be reckoned with, and it has gotten us where we wanted to be in the past. You know, you're probably an achiever like me, and you've got there through hard work, but you also realize that, you know, your hard work is going to get you only so far. So hard work exists, but it is superseded by something that I will call your magnetic point, so your attraction point. It really is getting into the flow, getting into the vibration of the person who achieves the goal that you're setting out for. It's kind of like, yes, we need to do hard work. Well, we don't have to, but if you're someone like me, you probably enjoy it. You enjoy the fruits of your labor. You enjoy getting stuff done and go, yes, I did that. But it's only going to get you so far. And, you know, here's the secret. And it really is kind of a secret, and it's sort of a bit of a cheat method, but we want to get into universal flow. We want to get into a vibration. When we become a vibrational match for that which we want to achieve, we actually affect the magnetic field around us, you know, in a very sort of quantum way, and that which we kind of imagine we wanted just starts popping up out of our experience. And for those of you who are still fence sitters around the law of attraction, I'll give you a few resources that you can look into. Those of you who are already like sold on it, we don't need to waste any more time talking about law of attraction and how vital it is to really make the most of that in our life. All right, so today is for you. If you are an aspirational and motivated person like me who wants to get everything out of life. So many people say to me, Helen, geez, you just suck the marrow out of life. And I was like, F yes, you know, what else is there? What else is there? How lucky are we to be here in life? You know, and let's just take a moment already. Let's just dive right in. I want you to take a big, deep breath in and out. And I want you just to look back over your life up until this point. And I want you to take a moment to realize, actually, in fact, where you are right now, with the stuff that you already have and the things that you have achieved, there was once a point in your life where you wanted this very thing. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Isn't it? It's true. Okay, so high fives to you because you're doing it. You're on the journey of creation. You are a powerful creator. Mastery is coming your way. And I just wanted to just take a moment for you guys to acknowledge your power in your journey already. All right. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here. Not because, yes, because you're giving me my time and you're giving me your time. I'm going to do my very best to get through this in a way that covers everything, but, you know, respects your time. But I appreciate you for giving yourself the time. As I said, you wouldn't be here if something inside of you had not, you know, sparked an idea that this might be a good thing for you. All right, so I'm going to give you some foundations. I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan. I'm going to take you through some cutting-edge techniques, the stuff that has worked and has been more effective for me than anything else in my personal development journey so far. We'll talk about some next steps with me if you want to go. You know, you can turn the webinar off at any point, but if you're here with me at the end, I'll talk about some next steps. And as I said before, put your credit card away. There is no sale. There's no sale in this webinar. I want you guys to get value out of it, whether or not there's any, further work with me or not. My arrow disappears. Okay. I'm pretty sure you've wondered why some people break through and others don't. Pretty sure you've wondered that. Okay, so we're going to dive right in. Have you ever said, if only I had more money, then I'd feel. So let's not use money because it could be anything. The statement is, okay, and I want you to write this down. If only I had more blank, then I could blank, and then I'd feel blank. All right, so I want you to press pause now and write that down. So press pause. Cool. Okay, so welcome back. Now you've got something written down. I put this out into my Facebook a couple of days ago as well. It was quite an engaging post, and I got a lot of answers. And I'm just going to read some of the answers that came forward when I asked people, just general people out there, to fill in the blanks. And this is what we got. If only I had more time, then I could get all my work done and spend more time with my family. Then I'd feel much more connected. All right. If only I had more help, then I could get more work done and make more money. Then I would be able to experience freedom. Then I'd feel free. If only I had more money, then I could do more and I'd feel less stressed. That one kind of makes me laugh a little bit. If only I had more help to enable me to create more wealth for myself and others, this would fast track my goals and give me time to nurture my own personal growth. Then I'd feel more valued and successful. That sounds like it comes from someone who spent a lot of time thinking about what if only. If only I had more time and I could do the things I want, such as help people and learn more, and then I would feel complete. If only I had more confidence, then I could stand in front of a raving audience to deliver my message, then I'd feel empowered and valued. If only I wasn't afraid of failure, I'd take risks, I'd take action towards my dreams and goals, then I would feel worthy and empowered. Okay, there's some good ones there. Okay, so if you don't take anything away from today, okay, if that statement that you've just written feels true for you, that's the problem. That's the problem. When we talk about moving into universal flow, when we talk about really leveraging the power of the magnetic force and electrical force that our hearts and minds produce, your problem, yes, you'll get a certain distance through hard work, but if you've realized that your hard work is only going to get you so far, if you know that you need to change your vibration and that you need to change yourself energetically to get where it is that you want to go, then your problem is your emotional vibration right now. Okay, so if that statement feels so true for you, this is where we begin. Okay, so you only want more of anything so that you can feel something. So we just made that blatantly clear. But if you can't feel it now, so a feeling is a vibration. How we feel is it's like our antenna for what it is that we're broadcasting into the world. Okay, and what we broadcast into the world is what shows up for us when it's a vibrational match for us. Okay, so if you're not a vibrational match for it, you're not broadcasting the frequency of that. And just like Napoleon Hill said way back then, you're never, ever going to have it. So we're going to go more into the science of this beyond the law of attraction. So I've got my own experience around this. You've probably got your own experience around that too, but it's always great I find it fascinating to know the instances where science and spirituality are crossing over. Okay. so I believe that we create our own reality as well, and if you don't believe in the law of attraction, my one question for you is, how's that belief serving you? Does it actually, because I believe we create our own reality. My experience and my research and everything that I understand today has got me to a point where, what I'm experiencing is my creation. And based on my beliefs as well. So the fact that I believe the law of attraction is real, that I create my reality from the internal outwards, it means that that's true, and it's kind of unfolding for me. I see that, I experience that. So if you're not, sold on the law of attraction, well, then my only question to you is, like, how is that belief serving you if you do create your own reality? If not, perhaps, we might meet again in a couple of years after you've kind of gone down that rabbit hole, but it's a pretty cool rabbit hole to go down. All right, so you understand that your problem, why you haven't achieved your thing already, is simply your vibrational alignment to it. Okay, so if you want more money being, oh, once I've got more money, then I'll feel freedom and abundance. But if you're not feeling freedom and abundance now, you're never going to have the kind of freedom and abundance that more money will bring you. All right, if you don't feel connected, if you're not feeling supported, if you're not broadcasting love and being loved, you're never going to have the relationship that you desire. You must feel these things now. I'll talk more about how to do this. So today I'm going to cover the secret 5-step method to magically manifesting anything you desire in any area of life without the risk of failure. I'm going to cover how to become limitless by using a 3-part neuroscience brain hack. This one is that's the key. It's so simple. It's not new, but science and neuroscience is starting to show why and how it works. And number 3, the 13-step process that you can follow to live your FYES life today. All right, so I've always been one of these people. I've always been a bit of an achiever. Even if you're like me, you probably were the same. I was reading really early. I was walking early. School captains, lots of achievements in school and sports. And then, I finished school and I was going to become an architect, and I was, got my place at uni. But I was like, no, I want to go. I just wanted to. There was something inside of me, something internal calling me to travel. So I said, yep, this is what I'm going to do. I was only 18 at the time, just 18. I wasn't even 18 when I decided. I was 17. That I'm going to travel. I went to the UK, and part of my travels, and I've used this picture, is I decided to go to Africa. So I spent 3 months traveling down the east coast of Africa in this old converted lorry, and yeah, look, it was an amazing trip full of adventure, and part of adventure is fear and surprise and delight and all of those kinds of things. And anyway, this adventure encompasses all of these things that create the FYES lifestyle. But there was a moment where I found myself in Zanzibar, and it was a really typical scene to this. And I was just kind of floating on the water, and the fish are like, I could just see right through to my feet, and these fish didn't have any fear, and it's like, I was like, F yes. It was just amazing. So, yeah, if you don't mind, and if it's okay, I'm going to share with you a little bit of my FYES story. Okay, because I hope that it inspires you in your FYES story as well. Okay, so I did my travels, and it was amazing, and I had plenty of FYES experiences then. And then I went to uni just as planned, and I did well. I did really well. I ended up being the top 1% of my university, which was great. And I'm like, FYES, here I go. So, but I deferred uni. So again, I followed my heart. I ended up moving in with somebody that I'd been so desperately in love with for years. And we weren't together at the time, but the opportunity to be closer to him came up, and so I did that. And truth be told, I actually started writing a lot of poetry. Again, all of this stuff coming from my heart. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't help it. And I started questioning whether architecture was really for me. And I started failing for the first time in my life ever. And that came as quite a surprise to me. I'd always been an achiever. Anyway, I went back home. I have always loved to cook. I started an apprenticeship in commercial cookery. And again, I did really well. And my career in cookery took me all over the world. And here's another FES moment from my life. So this is up in the Port du Soleil. I ended up working in a large chalet, small boutique hotel, running the kitchen there. And this particular company would fly me back to the French Alps. They would pay for everything. And I love this picture because at the time it was just like, that was just normal. And any of you who have spent time up in the snow know that it's kind of, it's like the land of the demigods. Everyone's just free, having a wonderful time. It's quite incredible. And the other reason I love this picture is because it wasn't actually easy for me to get to that point at all. I sucked so bad at learning to snowboard. And I don't know if you've learned to snowboard, but it's hard. I just kept pulverizing my hip over and over and over again. And so many times I found myself in the snow, like in this crying mess, wanting so badly to be able to keep up with the rest of the crowd, and I've got these kids whizzing by me and hopelessly obese people whizzing by me, and like, why can't I do this bloody thing, But I persisted and I persisted and I persisted, and I had teachers and I implemented what they told me, and eventually I got it. And because I got it, because I persisted, I got to be in positions like that picture that you see there. That's not a spot that newbies can get to. That's not an experience that I'm having there that people that give in and give up can experience. So I just wanted to share that with you, okay? All right, and then I met this guy. FES, amazing. Dave, couldn't meet a nicer, kinder man in the world. All right, it was time to settle. So we moved back to Perth, and I got a job in a restaurant, a very good restaurant, just as chef de partie, which is sort of a mid-level job. But before long, I'd risen to the head chef there. And while I was there, we were able to be recognised as one of Australia's top restaurants. They have a good food guide. It's the top 100 restaurants in Australia, and it's you kind of want to be in that book. And while I was there, we were in that book, and I'm really, really proud of what was achieved in my time there. And we had an amazing team. We got a lot of accolades. I had a lot of fun and success in that period of my life. So again, FES. Is anyone starting to get sick of all my FESs? Look, married the man of my dreams in a wonderful wedding, surrounded by beautiful people. FES again. All right. Decided to start a business. Done my time in restaurants. Decided to start a business, teaching people how to cook. Went really well. I remember one day I made $17,000 in one day. FES. I was kind of living a blessed life. And then we had Thomas. It took 9 months, but had Thomas. And again, FES. At this point, Dave had been offered, so we were in Perth at the time, and Dave had been offered to a great position, a really well-paid position in a company in Brisbane, back where my family is from, and they relocated us. They paid for everything. We moved back there. FES. It was amazing. But then Dave lost his job, and it wasn't his fault at all. It was just one of those things. And the oil and gas industry, which he's a part of, started taking a turn for the worse. And we were in Brisbane at the time. We were living in a gorgeous suburb with such a strong community. I was so happy. I was a new mum, I'd really connected with a wonderful community of new mums. I was really pleased. I was helping out in community gardens, those kinds of things. But Dave lost his job, and there just weren't any other jobs. There weren't any other jobs in Brisbane. We thought about going back to Perth, but there weren't jobs there as well. And we hung out for about 6 months. And nothing came up. And then the opportunity came to move to a place called New Plymouth in New Zealand, which I had never, ever heard of, And Dave came across to check it out, and he's like, yes, this is a great place for us. We'll move there, And I didn't want to. I left Australia and Brisbane, and in particular the suburb of Sandgate, Brighton, Brisbane, kicking and screaming. I didn't want to go. Everything was perfect. It was all perfect for me. But, I made the decision to go because that's where the work was, and, I support Dave. And so here we are, and this is where I live now, under this mountain, Mount Taranaki. And I wish I could say, that it's all been FES, but that's pretty much the end of my winning streak. So began the longest, darkest period of my life. I tried to record this webinar a couple of days ago, and I got so emotional. I'd never really told my story for the first time. Okay, so this is Sophie. Not long after I arrived in New Zealand, I fell pregnant. Okay, so now I moved from, just living the FES life. I was so happy, everything is going perfect, to suddenly being in a new country. Okay, I was very fortunate that Mum and Dad could come across when Sophie was born, but any of you who've had children know that, especially if you don't have family support around, yes, the support is there the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and then everyone gets back to their lives and everyone's kind of forgotten that you've got a baby. So I had a second child. I had no local family. Marriage became really hard, and it still upsets me to think how, I shared that picture before when everything was great, and then moving to a new country and everything just getting so hard. I decided to business was just impossible. I'd gone from making $17,000 in a snap to it just is impossible. And any of you mumpreneurs out there know what it's like, how impossible it is. Okay, and I'm starting to have negative thoughts all the time. They're just like spiraling down. I was so desperately unhappy. I still got this burning desire. I'm still the achiever inside, the winner inside, but my external environment is not reflecting this at all. I was getting nowhere, and I was getting nowhere fast. And just being guilty about being me, being the driven achiever that I am inside, and not settling for the family life that I'm supposed to want to have now that I'm a mum. Not long before we moved to New Plymouth, I came across a network marketing opportunity, and my parents were in Amway as I was growing up. So as a teenager, I was already reading Think and Grow Rich, the power of what, the power of thinking big. What is it? I'm having a brain fart at the moment. The magic of thinking big. Think and Grow Rich, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, all of these classics. I was already reading these, and I was going to the events, and I had the insight into that industry, and I loved the personal development. I was addicted to watching people stretch and reach for their goals and achieve them. I loved it. I loved every minute of it, and I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. And then an opportunity came my way, to join a company with a fantastic product. And I was like, yes, I'm into this. I'd forgotten all about this industry. And I was so excited. And then, I went to talk to Dave and telling him all about it and everything I was going to do. And he was like, F no. And I'm like, what? Like, this is the first time in my life. I'm sure it's kind of clear to you now, and credit to my parents to having let me live my FES life my entire life, and I've got someone who I care deeply about saying there's no bloody way that you're doing that. I'm not having any part of that. Our family's got nothing to do with that. It's a scam. That you'll never be successful. Da 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 da. Um, huh, and I'm tenacious. I'm gritty. If my heart tells me I want to do something, you can see that I will do it. And here I have got someone telling me no. And it was a long, hard 3 years of Dave and I butting heads and me wanting to do something, him telling me that I'm not going to do that. And I eventually decided to step out of the network marketing industry just for the sake of our marriage, but the desire to help others to shine, because that whole industry is like your success is based on the success of others, that never left me. So I started thinking I might like to be a coach. I still am running my cooking school at this time. Badly, I have to say. It was so hard, but I'm like, I think I'd like to be a coach, and that's the spark of the idea. So just back to my personal development journey. So yes, it started back, when I was a teenager in network marketing. And then I had this sort of interlude during, when I was traveling and at uni and in my food career, my restaurant career. It just was amazing. It was great. I had a lot of support. The environment that was around me supported that success. Okay, that's key. We're so, we can take a certain amount of credit, but until you've had that supportive environment stripped away, sometimes you don't realize how important that environment is to your success. Okay, so I was consuming tons of free motivational content. Okay, this is especially when I'm in New Zealand now. I'm in New Zealand and things are bad. Really bad. I was so unhappy. Yet I was consuming tons of this free motivational content. I was following a bunch of gurus and I was beating myself up like crazy, comparing myself to where they are now. I was getting nowhere, feeling bad. Okay, what was worse? I was comparing my husband to all these people that are speaking up on stage, the men that are up on stage, the men that are following their dreams or whatever, What an idiot. I publicly say what an idiot I was for comparing my amazing husband to people that are completely different to him. I was so unhappy. I had no money to return home. I felt stuck in a home that did not welcome me. I felt like it wasn't okay to be this driven, aspirational entrepreneur and a mum with young children. I felt unwelcome in my country. I didn't belong here. New Zealand is like Australia, but it's not Australia. We've got different histories, different traditions. The trees are different. I can't, again, until you leave, these things are gone. You kind of take a lot of things for granted. And I couldn't get out. Inside, I'm this achiever, this winner. On the external, I felt like I was like a dragon trapped in a cage. And there was a moment where I was sat right here in this very spot, in this pile of laundry and, babies and everything. And I'd made a decision. It was just like no. There is no way, and it was a moment where I saw my life extend out in front of me. And it was a life of laundry and housework and mediocrity. And I was just like, fuck no. I don't care if some people find this satisfying and fulfilling. For me, it was not. And I made it a decision, and it was just a decision. I had no how, but it was like, no, this is not my life. Okay, and as soon as I'd made that decision, the universe responded like that. And I was recommended a particular guru by a lady called Megan Kerr, and some of you on here might know Megan. Just a small, she just said a small thing, but I followed it up. I ended up in a sales funnel. And it was my first introduction to subconscious blocks. So up until now, it all been sort of motivational content. I want to be really clear about this. Motivational content, trying to change my life with my conscious mind, all the while feeling stuck and frustrated and unhappy, desperately unhappy, And this program was $600 and it was all pre-recorded, so there wasn't really any live interactive aspect. it was my first introduction to subconscious blocks. And, that in itself was quite a breakthrough. For the first time, I'm able to see my subconscious things playing out. I could see how they were stopping me, but the tools that they gave me in that course weren't really effective. So it got to me to a point where I could kind of see this playing out in my life, and this thing I'd get triggered, and I'd see this thing happening. I'm like, there it is, but I couldn't stop it. I couldn't prevent it. Okay, so I then came across an incredible program called MAP, and it was recommended to me by a chap called Chris Duncan, and this is Chris. Okay, a little bit of background. So I was following all these gurus, and I hope it's okay for me to share this story, because it's every piece is important in this story. And I'm following all these gurus, and I'm following this guy called Chris Duncan, and just like everybody else, he's super successful, and he's super motivated, and he's full of good ideas, and da 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 da. And something changed, and then that kind of got my notice, and I'm like narrowing in on him because I was like, this guy's bullshitting me. Something's wrong, something's different. And he started putting on weight. Us women, we can kind of tell. And my bullshit alarm was like going ding 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 ding. So that got me to focus and take note. And as it turned out, Chris's best mate and business partner had just been killed in a scooter accident in Bali. And this guy is trying like an idiot to try and stop his whole company at a $3 million company at that moment. It is just collapsing. And if any of you have been in business and experienced a business collapse, you know what it's like. It's just like one thing, next thing, and it just shits itself everywhere. So he had gone from 3 million right down to minus $300,000 in the space of like a couple of weeks. It was insane. And that's where I really connected with Chris. And part of his rebound journey was to sort out his own subconscious shit. And it was recommended to him that he go and see a lady called Colette Stryker, who was known sort of in success circles, a bit of a hidden secret, as someone who really works with people that's got money stuff going on. So he started working with Colette, and found the process that she went through, that she taught, absolutely amazing. He started building his business back up. And part of that building business back up is like, okay, Colette, he's got no money, remember? He's got no money, but what has he got? He's got a lot of business acumen. He knows how to build businesses. He's got a whole lot of strategy. Colette has got, this is what I think anyway, Colette has got a whole lot of mindset stuff. Chris is a marketer, right? He's a marketer. Probably first and foremost, as well as a coach. He's kind of got these two hats that he wears. Anyway, he's got like super marketing skills. Colette, super mindset skills. He says to Colette, this is amazing. We got to get this out to the world. So in order to, have this sort of reciprocal value exchange thing going on, he created a course. He sold some of Colette's stuff. I'm following him. I end up in a sales funnel. I bought another $600 course through Colette, again, pre-recorded stuff. And I was just blown away. For the first time in my life, I saw my subconscious blocks just dissolve into thin air. It was like magic. I'm like, what is going on here? This is amazing. But I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then Chris I end up in a 5-day challenge. So Chris is amazing. I recommend that you guys follow him. His free content is just incredible. It's gold, gold, gold. And I ended up in an effective entrepreneur challenge. And I'm like, yes, I want to be an effective entrepreneur, because remember, I was very, very ineffective at the time. So it was part strategy and it was part mindset with Colette. And by the end of the challenge, I was like, oh my God. And there's this big sale at the end of it, because that how these things work. And I'm like, I'm ready for it. I know how good a salesman Chris is. There's no way he's going to get me. But once they announced the program, something in my heart was just going, Helen, you've got to do this. You've got to do this. And I ended up on a sales call with him or the team. And that's just MAP. And it was $3,500, this course, and I had $1,000 in my bank account at the time, and it was my business safe money. That was my buffer zone, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Everything logical in me was saying, this is a bad idea. Everything in my heart was saying, Helen, you got to do this now. Much like when I saw that network marketing opportunity and I knew I had to do that. That was my path. I knew I had to do this, yet I was so full of fear. It would be a miracle if I could even complete this course. You know, I only had enough for the first month, and that was my safe money in my business. You know, but I had a friend, in fact, a group of us went through the challenge, and one of my friends ended up on the sales call as well. You know, she didn't know if she could do it either. She was full of fear. She had just come into a bit of money. Her name's Anne Cullen. Some of you might know her as well. She come into a little bit of money, and she was able to purchase the course. And I was just like, there is no way that Anne Cullen is going to go through this course without me. So I closed my eyes. I took that leap of faith. I got my credit card out, bought just the first month. I made a decision. And again, the universe responded, and I got this massive job straight off the back. I easily completed the course. Not only did I easily complete the course, and part of that course is a whole lot of MAP, I decided I was going to become certified in the MAP coaching method of subconscious reprogramming. That was a reality. A six-month training, you know, that's a $6,000 program. That became a reality. I got qualified in that as well. Like all of a sudden, the green lights are going again. Okay, so everything changed. My negative thoughts stopped. You've got no idea how amazing it feels not to be constantly in that negative downward spiral. Just not to have those negative thoughts going through my brain all the time. My psychology was finally free. I'm relating to my husband in a whole new way. Painful memories of arguments, horrible arguments that we've had, you know, the memories are there. The emotional content is not, you know. So that's not, you know, when you have an argument and then every other argument in the past pops up. That's just not there anymore. Big jobs came my way for Cook Learn Love. I had retrained to be a coach in probably the most powerful, which is what I thought at the time, the most powerful transformational process on the planet. Finally, you know, because subconscious transformation, and I knew what to do. So I'd instantly become crystal clear how to transition from average or be below average, you know, depending on how you're looking at it. Remember, I've got 2 young children, you know, alone in a foreign country, all of these things. None of us can see the mountain that other people are climbing, can we? You know, but to me, if people were to be looking in, I was like failing really badly. Okay, so I knew how to transition now from average back to the top 1%, because that's where I feel I belong, right? I had a clear vision of what was possible, you know, ultimate freedom, financial fulfillment, family connection, fitness. It was all within reach. And what does all within reach mean? I'm in flow. I'm already in flow. Okay, I'm back. I'm back on the right path. But I've been focusing on healing and not my magnetic point. You know, and there is MAP is about subconscious healing, and it is about magnetic point. But I'd found the magnetic point a little bit too esoteric, a little bit boring, actually, to be honest. I'm someone that likes to get in, I take action, I make shit happen. And the magnetic process of MAP, I just found a little bit boring, and I was just being so constantly blown away by the healing that I was focusing on the healing. All right. But here we are. So once I started focusing on engaging processes to increase my magnetic point, you know, and following some processes that that are different to MAP. So Chris Duncan, who I'll talk about, and again, he created a course. I decided I want to get certified in that course as well. I went through first as a client, and then I went through it again, teaching people to go through it. And tell you what, a few final things subconsciously were released, and working on my magnetic point, and I literally feel like this balloon, you know, but before Christmas and now is like chalk and cheese. I can look back to my life before actually having an effective tool to deal with my subconscious blocks, and after it, chalk and cheese. Again, chalk and cheese between just working on my subconscious blocks and working consciously, intentionally on my magnetic point. Again, chalk and cheese. I was able to let go of the final few things that I needed to let go. It's amazing how light I feel. I literally feel like that. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a system today, and this system has been put together by Chris, and this is Chris and Harriet. She's just beautiful. And because of this, I'll tell you what it's done for Chris. Okay, first. So Chris Duncan, amazing guy, super entrepreneur. If your energy is like mine, his is like mine as well. That's why I follow him. I've gone down from looking at many, many gurus to following just two, really, and he's one of them. So he's a best-selling author, married the love of his life, Harriet. Like, she's just beautiful. He lives in paradise in the Gold Coast by the beach. He's lived and worked from dozens of cities. He's spoken to live audiences over 100,000 years, over 100,000 people. What he doesn't say here is he's been in a movie with Tony Robbins and the Dalai Lama. He's a first-generation millionaire. He comes from New Zealand. He's lived a life of freedom, doing what matters most. And what he doesn't say on this slide as well, which I kind of swiped from him, is that he rebounded in an incredibly short period of time from 3 million to minus 300,000 to I think he's about 4.5 million now. Okay, so this is Chris. Yeah, $4.5 million is where he's back up to. So yes, I kind of knew he was a marketer. What I didn't know was all of his coaching background, and since having trained with Chris and benefited from his knowledge and his skill, I would say his marketing, his coaching skill is just, it's comparable to his marketing skills. So he's been certified in NLP twice. He's got hypnosis background, success strategies, life coaching. He's been to the Tony Robbins seminars, bought Tony Robbins programs, Money and You, Matrix Energetics. Some of you will know Manifesting All Possibilities. That's MAP. He's also qualified in MAP and EFT. Okay, so you name it, he did it. And what he's done is taken the best of everything that he knows and put it into a 12-week process. So I've been through that 12-week process and it's changed everything for me. So he's created the Magnetic Mind program, all right? He studied neuroscience, epigenetics. He wanted to prove to our conscious brains, which is important, because remember, if we don't believe it, it's not going to be part of our reality. So it's important that our conscious minds can wrap itself around what it is that we're talking about. And fortunately, science is giving us the stuff that helps us to wrap our conscious brains around that which we kind of intuitively know to be true, and we've experienced it in our past. He interviewed billionaires. He reverse engineered what worked for him, and he's put it into a course. And I have been one of the lucky beneficiaries, and you can too if you choose. So in part of this interview process, he met a billionaire. He's like, Chris, you have to teach this, and I think it was that conversation that really, because this has been sort of stewing in his mind for a while. Any of you who are creators know, starts in the mind first. And it was a billionaire who said, Chris, you got to go out and do this. So, he took the plunge. I was the first group, much like, MAP. I seem to be a bit of a trailblazer in these cutting edge things. He put it out there, and I was one of the first to go through and be certified in this process. So, what Chris says, what's the fastest way from point A to point B? To get someone to show you the way. Okay, you find someone who has already achieved what it is that you want to achieve, and you follow them. Okay, so Chris is my guy. I follow him. He's just the same energy as me. He's aspirational, he's ambitious, but he's also heart-centered and motivated. And he has built such an incredible tribe that is like my second family, and I could not be more grateful for this man. I don't know if Chris will ever watch this webinar, but Chris, if you are, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you've achieved, for paving the way, leading by example, and sharing what you've had to share with me, because it's really made such a difference in my life. Quick story, a really famous story in personal development circles. Okay, it's a story of monkeys, and I think it's 5 monkeys in the story. And the story goes, a group of scientists have a group of monkeys, and they put the monkeys in a cage, and there's a ladder and there's some bananas at the top of the ladder, right? So what do the monkeys do? They go and grab the bananas, and that's to be expected. But then what they did is they introduced a water gun, and so as the monkeys would go up to take the bananas out of the cage, they'd blast the monkeys with water, and to a point where, you know, the monkeys are like, we're not going to go for that anymore. It's not worth it. It hurts too much. And so then they take one of the monkeys out and they replace it with a fresh monkey. And the fresh monkey sees the bananas, and the other two monkeys are like, no, don't you do that. You know, they prevent, you know, through their body language and physically preventing the monkey from going for the banana. Okay. And then they repeat this process, taking one monkey out, putting one monkey in, until none of the original set of monkeys were there in the beginning. Okay, and then you put a new monkey in, the monkey goes to the bananas, and the other group are going, no, don't go for the bananas, even though none of them have actually ever once attempted to go for the bananas. You know, it's just an example of a sort of conditioned response. Now, some of you are going to have your BS alerts going ding, 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 like mine were. And I was like, yeah, you know, this is kind of a cool story, but it sounds a bit urban mythy to me. So just so you know that I don't want to ever feed you stuff that, you know, I know is not good stuff. I had to research this. And just as I expected, the story of the monkeys is a bit of a, you know, urban myth, but it's based on a real experiment. It's not quite so dramatic as ladders and bananas, and I think there were only 3 monkeys involved, but there wasn't an experiment, and it did show that the new monkeys were influenced in their decision to go for the banana based on facial expressions and non-verbal communication from the other monkeys. All right, and my question for you is to just look at this metaphor and see if you can see it playing out in your life, because circle of influence is absolutely massive. Okay, so I went all in on this course. I have to admit, when Chris offered this course, I was a little bit skeptical of any results. Here I am thinking I'm already trained in like the best modality in mindset transformation on the planet. I wasn't expecting any more transformation. I jumped in the course because I love Chris's tribe. I want to be a part of whatever it is he's creating. You know, I want to be a part of the other coaches that are going through that process as well. They were the reasons that I did it, to be 100% honest. I didn't expect transformation, but that's exactly what I got. So I went all in. I'm still all in. I work on my magnetic point every single day, and it's made all the difference. So remember, I said before, things are created twice. You know this. We have an idea, we create it in our mind first, and then it becomes reality. We can only ever create to the capacity that our mindset will allow. If we can't imagine, or we do not believe in a future that is bigger than it currently is, we will never create that. Mindset is everything. It's everything, everything. Ask any success guru out there what comes first, and they'll say mindset. Okay, I'm going to talk about, I haven't got a rubber band. I wish I had a rubber band, but this is quite a cool analogy. Structural tension. This is the missing piece. No, I've never ever seen anybody else talk about this. So imagine you've got a rubber band, okay? And this rubber band, as we stretch it, is a metaphor for you and where it is that you're going in your life. So down here is your point A, where it is that you want it, where you are now. This is your point B, where it is that you're going. Okay, and we've got this, and we create this tension. All right, now tension seeks release, like that's just a fact. And the question I have for you is, what's the easiest point of release? So we could release it up here, or we could release it down here. The easiest point of release, this tension is seeking release, is to release this bit up here, where it is that you're going. Because currently, this is where you are now. Everything is supporting where you are now. Your habits, your beliefs, your mindset, the people around you, your environment. Everything is supporting this. So to let go of where it is that you're going towards, that's the most likely scenario for it to snap back. And how many times have you seen it over and over and over again? And in fact, this is the path of breakthrough. it looks like this point. You get to this point and then you snap back. You get to a certain point and you snap. It's literally breakthrough. Okay. So what this process does is it supports and creates an environment that the most likely place for that tension to release is your old self. And what happens then? You get catapulted through that breakthrough point and move forwards. Okay, so this is exactly what this program is all about. And even if you don't, end up with me in this program, you need to find ways to prevent your current spot from being the place where you snap back to, whatever that is for you. So I found my sabotage patterns, I stopped reinforcing them, and I took the right action. And here I am. Again, here we are, that feeling of, yes, finally. I don't know why it took me so long, but sometimes the struggle makes it all worthwhile as well. But you must be in your future feeling now. That's the one thing to take away from this training today. You must be in your future feeling now. So here's a little hack, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is, this is the secret. Remember how we looked back to in the past where you wanted to actually be here. The first thing you need to be able to say is, I am truly satisfied with everything I have right now. Yes, and I want more of it. To be able to daily, every day, get up and just go, yes, amazing. I'm so glad to be here at this point in time on this part of the planet with the people that are around me. And I look forward to more. That's the secret. Okay, you must get in the future feeling now. The yes feeling, you must get into it now. We must let go of trying to get somewhere or get away from something, which we might talk about more of, that getting away from something feeling. Okay. So I realized I needed to change my thinking. And part of changing my thinking, yes, we can naturally change our thinking just by working on our subconscious blocks. When that stuff is not there anymore, sending the thought patterns that take our thoughts down, it makes it heaps easier to have good thinking. But we can actually do things consciously, around changing our thinking. And in this process, that side of things was really, really well supported. Okay, and that's when everything changed. Again. So I pulled myself together. I implemented exactly what I was taught because I trust Chris. I trust him. I've seen it work for him. So this is what it was. Okay, this is that 5-step thing I was talking about. First, a clear contribution-based vision. Aligned mind. We're going to talk more about this too. Aligned mind and emotion of the end result. Structural tension and the correct action. Okay, action is still important. It's hard work, still matters. A morning meditation, morning visualizations, and having a coach to keep me on track. Okay, that's the five pillars of this process. That it works. It just works. All right, so I decided, I'm just going to become a killer coach right now. It's that simple, but I did it. It's like a seed. It's almost like it's that thing I keep talking about, and it was always there. Although it wasn't manifest in my life, I knew that there's something in me calling me to something really great and fun and exceptional. Okay. And now that's starting to take root. Now that's the fruits. It's starting to come up into the surface, into my reality. And that's kind of how it works. It starts just like a seed. Yeah, I've already talked about people saying how different I am between now and Christmas. So now I live in a beautiful part of the world. I have a beautiful family. I have truly inspiring friends. I can't thank I know the best people. Circle of influence is amazing, and I'm just blown away by the people that I can call friends. I can earn great money doing what I love, and I look forward to more. How amazing is that? So what is brain plasticity? Brain plasticity is, people used to think that once, minds were set, that we were hardwired and there was no change. But we know now that our brains change all the time. We create neural pathways and we trim neural pathways all the time. So you can change. Your brain can change. Okay, so yeah, we talked about that, how the brain changes. Okay, so it changes in a physical, so changes in the physical brain manifest as changes in our abilities. Okay, we know this is simple. For example, we learn a new dance step. It reflects a change in our physical brains, new wires and neural pathways that give instructions for our body on how to perform the step. Each time we forget someone's name, it also reflects brain change. So wires that once connected to memory have been degraded or even severed. As these examples show, changes in the brain can result in improved skill, a new dance step, or a weakening of skills or forgotten name. Okay, so I want you to get that. Your brain creates new skills. You can create new habits. Okay, that won't play for me, but that is a very cool, or will it? Let's see. It's going to play? No. It's a very cool clip of two neurons forming a new neural pathway. But that's all right. If anyone's desperate to see that, I can send it to them afterwards. All right, so as we talked about contribution-based clarity times neuroscience plus epigenetics and the spiritual laws of money times daily action is magic manifestation. You can't help but live the FES life. If you do these things, that's what happens. You know, I'm a living example of it, and so is every coach who's gone through the process, and so is Chris himself as well. Okay, it's a 12-week process to take anyone from struggle and sacrifice to living their FES life. All right, so here's another big piece that I want you to get in this training. Your natural conflicts will stop you. Okay, big problem number one, you're not already in emotional, in the emotional vibration, the frequency that matches that which you desire. Okay, that's your first problem. Okay, if it's not manifest, that's what's going on. Okay, the next one, and this is huge, is that your natural conflicts will stop you, i.e. you're not in alignment. Okay, we have these different aspects of ourself. Okay, we've got our conscious brain, and our conscious brain wants to thrive. Our conscious brain thinks, I think it will be a really good idea to make lots of money and have lots of friends and travel the world and have adventures and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, that's what your conscious brain wants. We've also got our subconscious parts, and our subconscious brain just wants us to survive. That's all it cares about. It cares about the progression of the species, that you live long enough to have children, bring up your children in the best way possible, and live out the rest of your days alive as long as possible. That's what your subconscious wants. Okay, and now your subconscious knows that your past is proven and safe. So this is where it gets all screwy, because it's like, you know, even if you've been, you know, subject to violent relationships, you're still here on this call. Your subconscious knows that, hey, violent relationships, that's safe, that's survivable. You know, we'll just have more of those, please. Because I know that's safe. I've got everything in my past tells me that I can survive that, and we'll have more of that. You know, maybe you've been in one and your brain realizes it's not survivable and you've changed as well. Being broke, hey, subconscious, I know I can survive being broke. That's familiar. Let's just have more of the same, please. Okay. Now, this is where it gets interesting, is that we're physically bound biochemically to feelings. Okay, so if we have always been broke, and our subconscious likes being broke because that's survivable, we feel broke. And we keep sending these messages in chemicals down to our bodies. I'm broke, not enough, scarcity, da 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 da. We keep doing it. And what's very interesting is that at the cellular level, we have receptors on the outside of our cells. And our cells determine what is expressed, okay? And these cells determine what gets in. And the more we flood our bodies, and the more we flood our cells with particular feelings, the cells optimize themselves to get more of that feeling. Do you see? You know, so suddenly you keep saying, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. And then your body is full of cells that just love the feeling of I'm broke. Okay, so then you say, okay, that's it, I'm not going to be broke anymore. Had it, I'm going to make a heap of money. You go out there, you change your behavior, you start thinking and feeling differently, and your body is going, where's my fix? Where is my fix? You know, and it will do everything and work in cahoots with your subconscious to sabotage you. And this is where self-sabotage comes from. This is exactly sabotage playing out and why it plays out. Okay, and why you can't just decide to be someone else and expect it to be easy and overnight. You know, you need the support to help change the habits, to support you when your body's like calling out for all of the broke chemicals. All right, now there's one more thing that needs to be in alignment. So can you see how you're not in alignment? Your conscious brain says this, your subconscious brain says that, your body is probably in cahoots with your subconscious brain saying that, and then you've got your soul and your heart's purpose is to evolve spiritually. You know, and that's why, you know, sometimes you get led down a path that is like, what am I doing here, and why is this so painful to me? You know, much like saying the big yes to the network marketing opportunity that led me to so much pain, but it also led me to very, very, you know, in that pain, I started to understand myself more. I started to understand Dave more. I started to really pick apart relationships and relationship breakdown. You know, I started to look at myself to see, well, what is it and how am I contributing to this? You know, so you've got your conscious brain going like this, you've got your subconscious in your body going like that, you maybe got your heart going in this direction, and it's no wonder you're not getting anywhere, is it? You know, this is key. Do you see how key this is? You know, and this training might go over the 90 minutes, perhaps it already has, but this is important for you to get, okay? The key to success is to get everything in alignment. Back to what Robert Kirby said, getting everything in alignment. So we're talking about getting your subconscious patterns in alignment, getting your body in alignment. That's in teaching your body new habits, teaching your body to accept new chemicals, to start optimizing to new chemicals, your conscious brain and your heart all moving in one direction, and that's when we get some momentum. Okay, that's what it's all about. At the very, very crux of everything that I do, that is what I help people to do. Okay, so hopefully you can see the conflicts when you're stuck. No wonder you're being pulled in all these directions, and when we can shift everything and move you in one direction, that's when things will magically change. Okay, so let's do some work. So what is your what is your sabotage pattern? Do we have a true goal? Let's talk about that for a second. So you looked back, you know, when I'll have this, then I'll feel that. Okay, and we talked about that you need to be in the feeling of it now. Now, the next key thing about that thing that you want is, why do you want it? This is really important. Okay, this is foundational. Why do you want it? Ask yourself, so write it down. Why do you want it? Write down 10 things why you want it, and you can press pause now. All right, so the key is, the question, you know, do you want this thing because you're trying to get away from something? Do you want this thing because you don't want that? Because if you've got that kind of thing going on, again, you're going to make it really hard to manifest, because in trying to achieve the thing, you're also picking up the vibration of moving away from that. You know, there's a focus. You can't focus completely on the thing, because that's there sort of in your reality as well. I must get here because I'm stuck in New Zealand. You know, it's a perfect example of it. Must make money because I want to I don't want to be stuck here. Okay, so it's really important that you have a true goal. So a true goal is usually like we talked about before, contribution-based clarity. You want to do something because you want to help, you want to contribute, or it's fun. I find it's one of these two things. Okay, so I want you just to take a moment now thinking about where it is that you're going in the future, and is it really coming from, it's a feeling, it's a fun feeling. Is it coming from that kind of space, or is it coming from a big, heavy space of resistance of trying to get away from that? So just take a moment to notice that, because if you've got the getting away from thing, yeah, there's a little bit of work to really free you up to create from a real point of power, you know, because that's where the power is. It's internal. If you're trying to create something to get away from something else, the power is in that something else. So we really need to bring that power back into you. Another way to ask this question, you know, it might not be a physical, logistical thing that you're trying to get away from. It could be a feeling, a deep feeling inside, you know. So are you trying to resolve a way that you feel incomplete? All right, so here's a little exercise. And where's my arrow? I lost my arrow. Uh-oh. What's happened? There it is. Whew. Okay, so let's do a little exercise. So let's close our eyes. Everyone close your eyes. Take a big deep breath in and relax. And I want you to create a future scenario where you've already achieved your big goal. Okay, what can you see? What can you hear? What's the temperature? You know, are you inside? Are you outside? Is there a breeze? Who else is in your life? Create that scene. How do you feel? You know, put a smile on your face. You've already achieved this thing. Okay, now just survey this scene and just kind of, you know, have your FS moment there. Yeah, you've done it. Congratulations. High five to you. Here you are on the other side of something that was once a dream. Okay, now in that scene, I want you to find a spot, a perfect spot to just sit down and relax. And as you sit down and relax and just, you know, enjoying your FES moment, I want you to allow yourself to reminisce. I want you to allow yourself to reminisce back to the time when you sat here on this webinar, this foundational training with Helen, you know, and that was a time before you'd achieved the thing. And I want you to ask yourself, like, what was the obvious thing that I needed to do? The thing that when I did it changed everything, that enabled me to take this path to living my FES life. What was that one thing? What was the obvious thing I needed to do? And when you get that answer, you can open your eyes. Okay, and write that down. All right, now I'm really sorry to inform you guys, but you now have a thing, and you cannot unsee it now that you've seen it. Okay, so what's your thing? My guess is that this thing that you needed to do is something you've already known you need to do, isn't it? Okay, but you haven't done it yet. You've got a thing, you haven't done it yet. So my next question is, what are your reservations and stories that have been stopping you from doing the thing? Okay, so imagine doing the thing tomorrow. Okay, what are your reservations? I want you to press pause and write these down. Okay, what are your judgments of yourself and others? I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. It's the wrong market. What are your judgments? Just brainstorm them down. Okay, what are your inner conflicts? Part of me wants to do this. Part of me wants to do that. You know, a perfect example of that for me is I have this desire inside of me to create the FES life. You know, I want to live life to the fullest. I want to suck the marrow from the bones. I want to have fantastic experiences and amazing friends, you know, and I have a business that makes me money. Yet my heart is telling me that I want to coach, you know. So can you see? And that dynamic there, that was a stuck point for me for years. About 4 years I stayed in that spot, you know, and it was this process that I can take you through if you want me to, that just enabled me to finally get into full alignment, let go of the food side of my business, fully concentrate on my coaching, and it feels so good, I have to say. All right. Now, here's the final question. What have you done in the past to resolve this tension? Okay, remember, this is where you are now. This is the thing. This is where you want to go. The thing, the obvious thing you need to do to get to your bigger goal. And yet, all the time, you've kept snapping back to this point where you are now. So what does that look like for you? It might be procrastination. It might be just getting really busy. It might be creating new stuff. What is that for you? Okay, because that's your pattern. And now when you look at your pattern, and this is just another prompt, and say, okay, well, I get busy doing other things, and if I really had to be honest, so the question is, if I really had to be honest, I do this because, whatever your pattern is, I feel unworthy, not good enough, I don't belong, I am insignificant or invisible, I don't have the capacity, I need to be perfect. Okay, there's a few others, but that kind of thing, you know, we all have core wounds, we all have them, and they play out in our lives day in and day out. And when we can start addressing those, when we can start resolving and healing those, there is so much immense power in that, I can't even begin to tell you. Okay, so hopefully this has been really valuable to you so far, in that you've been able to identify at least one pattern that is stopping you from getting where it is that you need to go, because you know your next step. You've got an obvious thing. Okay, but again, where is the power? Do you have a true goal? Are you trying to resolve a way that you feel incomplete? Okay, so we make some mistakes unconsciously. And one of those big mistakes is thinking something external will make something internal different. Okay, so again, I'm asking you, where is the power? If you're trying to get away from something that's external, and you think by getting away from it, you're going to have the feelings of the thing that you want to get towards, but you're not. You know, we've had so many stories about people who have achieved success, and even in my own coaching practice now, as I'm coaching achievers and hearing their stories of success, and then hearing the story of like, oh yeah, I got the thing, and then it's like, oh well, now what? You know, there's a brief moment of celebration and FES, but it's not that sustained daily flow state that Robert Kirby talks about. You know, we're taking advice from 7-year-olds. Okay, so what I mean by that is we all form our subconscious patterns in the first 7 years of our life. Okay, and a lot of those are formed from our parents, who also formed their subconscious patterns in the first 7 years of their life, who formed it from their parents. And it's ridiculous. We're here living these lives. If we don't work on ourselves subconsciously, if we don't change our programming, we're operating from this programming of a 7-year-old half the time. Okay, don't take advice from 7-year-olds. So don't take advice from people who haven't worked on their, you know, subconscious self. Don't take advice from people who aren't where you want to be. So if you want to earn money, don't take your advice. Don't get the advice of broke people. Okay, if you want a great relationship, don't take your advice from somebody who has not traveled the path, and not necessarily, you know, I'm going to retract that actually. Let's be really clear. Don't take your advice from someone who hasn't trodden your path. Okay, like before I said, you don't know the mountain that anybody else is climbing at any one particular point in time. You know, and some things come easy to people. You know, I find it quite easy to maintain my weight and my energy. That just comes easy to me. For other people, like that would be like amazing. It's just easy for me. Some people, money is easy for them. You know, I'm not the best person to follow. You know, that's why I don't teach people how to lose weight, because it comes easy for me. It hasn't been a struggle. I haven't struggled to get there. You know, so you want to make sure that the advice that you're taking is from someone who has taken that very same struggling path. Okay, yeah, you can think, okay, relationships, I'm going to get my relationship advice from someone who has a great relationship. And I can think of some friends that have great relationships, and I know, you know, they've got relationships, great relationships, because of the compatible nature of who they are. You know, but with Dave and I, what I've come to discover is that we're extremely very, very different people. You know, and what the wonderful thing about that is that the potential for personal growth is enormous. You know, because of the struggles I've had to look in and get very, really, really clear on the nuances of what makes a relationship great and what makes a relationship not great. You know, and to be able to nip those things in the bud as they pop up. You know, and I think about other people that have great relationships and they just think it's easy. You know, and it's not easy for everybody. Okay, so just be careful who you take your advice from, and also trying to avoid failure. Okay, we need to embrace failure. You know this. It's just that there's some kind of stigma around failure, but let me let you in on a secret as well. Once you start moving into success circles, there is no stigma around failure. It's just not there, because everybody who's there has failed multiple times, you know, and they've picked themselves up from their bloody mess and attempted again and perhaps failed again, but learned and implement their learnings and taken steps forwards. So stop trying to avoid failure. A failure means you're in the game. You have to be willing to fail. Okay? So there's some big mistakes there. Are you making any of them? I hope you're taking some notes here. Do you want some more mistakes? Here's some. Okay, you're not really clear on what you really want. Okay? In any of those ways, you know, you might be, okay, so I'm such a perfect example of this. I do not want to be stuck in New Zealand with no money. Okay, mistake number one. I know in my heart that I want to be coaching other people, helping other people reach for that which they want. In another direction, I've got a business and people give me a lot of accolades for my business, and it does make me money, and I'm changing lives of children and things like that. I'm being pulled in all of these different directions, and I'm staying super stuck. This is back in the past, like it's so obvious. It's so obvious to my coaches and Chris around me. Like, you can just see I just need to cut that thing, but I couldn't. You know, I wasn't clear on what I really wanted, and I couldn't let go of the past. Okay, stuck in a limiting pattern. I was sure as hell stuck in a limiting pattern. Living to make someone else happy. Again, this was a really big mistake. So, you know, I set Cook Learn Love up back here in New Zealand because I knew that, you know, it was proven. It was Dave liked that business. Hey, look, I made $17,000 in a day. It was amazing. I bought him a new mountain bike. It's a proved activity. People love food. You know, I've got a great profile as a chef. You know, I like words of affirmation. People are like, oh, it's amazing. It's such an amazing business. Da, 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 da. You know, I like that kind of stuff, but it's making other people happy. Inside, I was so unhappy. You know, I think about putting another job on, and I'm just like, it just felt like a lead weight. Where inside, I want to help people. I want to coach. You know, I'd made a decision around my business, starting that back up again to make somebody else happy, not myself. All right. Another mistake. You have not shifted the core beliefs and are only focused on strategy. Especially you MLM ninjas out there, okay, you've got all the strategy in the world. It's there. It's proven. You know what to do. You're just not doing it, okay? You have to start fixing your subconscious beliefs, your limiting patterns, those kinds of things. If you don't believe you can do it, you never will. Okay, you're trying to find proof of your future success in your past. That doesn't exist, does it? It does not exist because you have not achieved the thing yet, you know, that you wanted to achieve. Even if you have achieved the thing, you haven't done it twice before, have you? You know, so you just have to stop that. Mistake number 6, you are out of emotional alignment with what you desire. I've already talked about that. Who familiarizes with that problem? That is such a big problem. You know, your conscious brain going one way, your body and your subconscious going in another way, your soul going in another way, and what it is that you're vibrating, saying another thing. Is no wonder you're stuck. You do not have mentors who are where you want to be. I've talked about that already, or coaches, or someone to hold you in that new vibration, you know, especially when things get tough, and they will get tough. Everything in your body, as I said, it wants to survive, and there's a mechanism called homeostasis, and that's what your body wants. Your body's main purpose is to stay the same. Okay, your body wants to stay the same. Your subconscious wants to stay alive. Okay, and everything around you is going to try and keep you where you are now, and that's why you need mentors. That's why you need a new circle of influence to help hold you to this new standard, to this new way of being, until these things become habit and your subconscious and your body support this new way of being. Hey, did you know that 64% of billionaires are self-made? It's kind of interesting. So there's no excuses there. Okay, we'll just bust through a few. So a few people that overcame their past to create an elite future. Remember, talking about past does not equal future. Let's look at a few. J.K. Rowling, she was rejected 12 times by publishers. Mark Cuban, really inspiring story there. Albert Einstein didn't even walk until he was 4 years old. Like, imagine what people are already thinking. You know, someone's not walking by the time they're 4-year-old, yet nonetheless, his past did not equal his future. Jim Carrey, his story is super famous. Okay, Steven Spielberg. Oprah, super famous story. You know, really, really tough background. Had a child when she was just a teenager that she lost, molested. Jay-Z, another example, okay? Do you need any more examples? Have I convinced you that your past does not need to equal your future in any way, okay? So you might be thinking, I don't have time for a new process, all right? This takes 30 minutes a day. There's a bit of setup at the beginning. You know, if you want to come through this process with me, if you want to do it yourself as well, you might be saying, I don't have the time. Doesn't matter what the vehicle is, you know. Do you want to change? Yes or no? Okay, if yes, then what are your reservations? You might be saying, I don't have time. Okay, so I can show you a way that after the setup is about 30 minutes of your time, 30 minutes to an hour every day of your time to getting everything in line and living your FYS life today. Oh, my arrows have gone again. Why does this happen? There we are. Okay. You have problems sticking to things. You have things that you can stick to, don't you? Okay. It might even be, you know, you're good at sticking to the belief that you have problems with sticking to things. Okay. But the key is to know what you need. You need to know what to do. You need to know why you need to do it, and creating a daily ritual, which is why it takes 30 minutes every day until it becomes normal. You've created new habits. We're talking about creating new you right down to the cellular level. Okay. That's why you have, you know, a coach and a system around you. How to Become Limitless by using a 3-part neuroscience brain hack. Okay, this is really cool, this one. Okay. You need to make up your mind. You can only have results if you believe it's possible. You limit yourself based on what you think is possible. I've already talked about this. Okay, your past will limit you if it's full of employee mentors, if you've got a bad money mindset, if you have limitations. Okay, perfect example. What will others think of me? This is going to happen to you. It will happen. You will change. Old friendships will pass on. New ones will come. And you will get judgments coming your way, and you need to ask yourself, well, are you ready for that? Okay, it's not safe suddenly having friends tell you you've changed and that, haters are real. I've experienced that myself. You start stepping up and leading by example and showing others that your past doesn't actually equal your future. Those who are too scared will start hating on you. They're going to try and drag you back down. So I want you to be ready for that. All right. Here are some examples. Remember when we went back to what do you do to resolve the problem? Why have you not done your thing? Here are some examples of it that might be useful. Again, holding on to the past. So again, no future proof. If then I'll. Okay, that's that future feeling. Overthinking, just putting too many plans in place. Okay, that's just a fear, a base of fear, and talking about stuff. Da 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 da. Okay, do any of those resonate with you? You must decide. This is the 3-part brain hack. Okay, you need to decide, and as I've spoken in this webinar, okay, the 2 things when I look at what has changed in my life, they've been decisions. The first was a decision that I'm no longer going to be on this life trajectory anymore. That was my first decision, and the universe responded. My second decision, I'm going to buy this course. It was a decision. It comes from inside. It's like a full body decision. And Chris talks about deciding. It literally is a decide. Which side are you on? Off the fence now. Okay. And the third one, when I decided to go in on this magnetic mind course. Okay, it's a decision. Okay, so you need to decide. That's step 1. If it's maybe it's not going to work. You need to decide with everything that you have. Okay, it's such a creative feeling. That's the essence of the human spirit, is free will. And it's your free will, it's your essence, your spirit saying, this is what I decide on. Okay, the next secret is imagine it in perfect completion. And they talk about this right back again to Napoleon Hill. That's visualization. Imagine the scene in perfect completion. Not only the scene, but the steps leading up to the scene, the whole unfolding. Imagining that in perfect completion. We have an extremely powerful process in the program that takes you through that process of seeing it in perfect completion. It's the most powerful thing one of the most powerful things I've ever done. I do it daily. It's one of my favorite things. And the third is the neuro-emotional embed. Okay, here's a question for you. Where were you on the day of the 9/11 attacks? And what were you doing? Okay, you know that because it was an extremely emotional experience for you. We're talking that neural pathway is hardwired. Didn't take much, like that was extreme. It's an extreme example, but I want to show you that. Okay, again, we're talking about forming new habits, forming new neural pathways. That's what a habit is. Okay, emotion is the stuff that glues that together. Okay, so not only do we decide what we want, we see it playing out every day in our mind's eye, but we also embed it neurologically and emotionally into our bodies. Okay, and that's the secret to manifesting anything that you desire. And why is it without failure? Because it won't matter. You'll be feeling so good. You'll be feeling so good that things will just start flowing to you easily. And it won't matter if it's tomorrow or next week or whatever. And that's the trick, isn't it? You know when you know this intuitively. Once you let go of your attachment to the outcome, that's when things actually come in. Let go of the outcome and you get the income. All right, what have we got next? Okay, now we've gone over 90 minutes, guys. I hope that's okay. I hope this is providing value for you. Okay, so decide on the next milestone towards your goals. Okay, you've got a thing. Would that be, yes or no, a major milestone for you now, moving towards your big goal? Yes or no? It's really simple. Perfect completion. As I said, the trick for you is to work out what's your next milestone. Okay, take your big goal, break it down into milestones, and then imagine that unfolding in your life every day. And then the neuro-emotional embeds. Every time you get to this milestone, feel it. You need to allow the feeling of these milestones to permeate your body. Okay, so the question is, your next thing, you've got a thing, it's on your paper in front of you now. What does that feel like? What would that feel like to have that done? For me, my next milestone's be the other side of this webinar. We're nearly there. You know, what would that feel like to you? Start broadcasting that in the steps leading up from today when you get off this webinar into however it feels like to have achieved or even be doing the milestone. That's what you're broadcasting, okay? Get into that feeling. And before you know it, you're going to be on the other side of that milestone. You'll be looking at the next milestone. And then before you know it, you're going to be on the other side of that milestone. And then you'll be looking towards the next one. That's how progress happens. That's so exciting. It's so exciting to see what were once milestones in your grateful past. Such a hack. Hope you're getting this. This is the best stuff. Yeah, feeling the feelings of this already happening and train your body to change, okay? It's going to be hard though. You can do it by yourself or you can do it with help. So what do you need to change? You need to change your beliefs. You need to change your family entanglements. That is huge. You know, if you check in with your soul, you're probably already is probably already going, hey, yep, me. I've got beliefs that aren't working, or I've got family entanglements that weren't working. Family entanglements for me was massive. It was one of the things that completely unlocked the last few things that needed to be unlocked for me to just feel free and just, you know, doing what I want to be doing, achieving the way I want to be achieving. Family was huge. We do a lot of deep internal work on family entanglements, limiting emotions, unconscious desires and rules. These are the things that you need to change. Have you written these down? Beliefs, family entanglements, limiting emotions, unconscious desires and rules. Those core wounds again. So worthiness, feeling unworthy is just one of those. Conflicting parts, cognitive dissonance, because because I stayed stuck in this for so long. Again, you know, just like the relationship example I gave you, because I know it so well, I also know so well how to get out of it. All right, that's one of my specialties, is getting someone just 100% aligned on where it is that they want to go and then keeping them on track. All right. Okay, so people think that they can't change, that you've already tried. Doesn't matter if you've already tried. Everybody does the best they can with the resources they have available to you at the time. And guess what, guys? Now you've got some new resources. All right, you know that your brain can change. There's that brain picture again. What's your excuse? You've got a thing. I'm offering you a solution. Okay. What is it? I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not courageous enough. I'm not good enough. I don't belong with those people. Come on, what is it? Write it down. Write it down. Okay, this is the stuff you need to change. Perhaps I can help you change it. If it's not me, you know, there are other people, and please find a way. It comes down to self-respect as well. I'm sorry after this course and this training, if you've kind of got some stuff and awareness that you know you need to change, and if you don't go and change, then that's going to eat away at your self-respect. So it's up to you, you know, what you do with the knowledge that you have after this class. Okay, here we go. I'm not talented enough. I don't know enough. Okay, it doesn't matter. All you need to have is a willingness to learn, because you can learn to create new neural pathways. You can learn to create new habits. You can learn how to daily change your body chemistry. All of this can be learned. If you can learn, you can change, you can do this. You are where you are because you think you don't know enough. Da 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 da. We've talked about all this. I want you to know that you can change your results. Talked about that. Okay. So, how to create your millionaire magnetic mind. If you want to be a millionaire, doesn't really matter. That's just one I put in there because I tend to work with people that have businesses, and being a millionaire at least is part of their bigger vision. But for you, it might be you know, relationships. It might be just finding out what your life purpose is. You don't even need to know where you're going. Your end result could be, I want to find my purpose. That could be your big goal. That's totally fine. The process works for whatever it is that you want. Okay, so this is the answer. So I didn't know any of this. You know, at the beginning, definitely not. I look back to when I started in New Zealand, and I'm just consuming all that free motivational stuff and getting nowhere. Okay, but once I understood my subconscious blocks, applied the tools and strategies to change myself, applied myself, took the right action, I've created this life that I'm just so grateful to be in. Okay, so I would like to quickly introduce you to the Magnetic Mind Masterclass. If you're still here on this webinar after 1 hour and 50 minutes and you feel that, you know, I've got something to give, let me tell you what I've got to give. Then I said, you can't actually buy anything on this course, but I want to share with you what I've got to give. It's for anyone wanting to magnetically create their future, all right? Someone who's already put in the hard work, put in the hard yards, have probably maxed out at your current level of creation. This is for anyone wanting to take it up a level, to bust through those bloody limiting beliefs and those limits that you keep smacking your face in time and time again. If you're sick of that, this is for you. Okay, so we've got a full online university. That looks like it's like an online portal. There's like heaps of stuff in there for you to learn. You can access it at any time. It's laid out beautifully. A 12-week program that guides you through step by step from surviving to thriving. It's literally 12 things that we do. The best of the best training from Chris, some of the stuff that's unlocked the last few things for me, and we take you through that. Okay. We create your magnetic mind. So first is, what's your mission? A true goal. Remember, we talked about that true goal. Finding out what that is. And your true goal could just be, as I said, to find the true goal. I've got people going through this process that are just wanting to find their purpose. Okay. We find your vision. What is your vision? And we look at your values, you know, and that's kind of cool. Values are really cool. We do that right at the beginning. Like we leave the gate running. Okay, we've got 6 unconscious unpacking questions. All of those, that's to bring up your subconscious stuff. It's not called subconscious for nothing. You know, it's not conscious. We have processes for bringing those into the light. Okay. Internal leverage. You know, that's just doing all of the internal change work. Leverage is so important. You know, if you're an entrepreneur, a sports person, you know you need to use your resources to the maximum amount that you can in order to move forwards. We've got so much untapped resource potential within us, you know, so that's what it means by internal leverage, you know, and I'm really skilled at helping extract that and put it to good use. Okay, we've got 11 change patterns and 3 core scripts. Emotional conditioning procedure, that's huge. Okay, we meet weekly. Okay, so either one-on-one or in a group, and I love groups. I'm really strong on groups. So I've got an awesome group offering. We go through it in groups, and the power of the group is it's not only your intention and my intention to change thrown into the mix, it's the intention of other powerful creators just like you who will hold you and see you in your excellence, your power, and they're going to hold you to that. And they're going to be inspired by seeing your action. You're going to be inspired by seeing their action. Can you see how powerful that is? Okay, but we can also do it in one-to-one. Okay, one-to-one is powerful in a different way in that we can sometimes be a little bit more fine-tuned with things that we change. But, you know, I think each are just as powerful as each other. Okay, as I said, it's a 12-week program. We create your lenses. Align your values. Okay, we change your internal state. I know I'm repeating myself, but I really want you guys to get this. Okay, we change how you speak to yourself. We learn how beliefs are created, internal frames and money beliefs, and we shift those. Whoa. These are following the weeks, by the way, so that's what you're up to in week 4. By week 5 is the 5-step emotional alignment. We're learning future pacing. We're learning about future ghosts, which is really cool, and creating, again, that internal leverage. Week 6, the redecision, learning timeline, the gestalt, and the intro to the 6 questions that I talked about. Okay. Week 7, learn how to white out negative emotions, turning your fears, phobias, and trauma into wisdom that you can use. 8, the quantum model. Okay, that's a fun one. Week 9, okay, we're getting deep now. We're removing internal conflicts. This is the big one. Learning the parts, integrations, physically, visually. Okay, that is so huge. Okay, by week 9, you are there. You're in alignment. Week 10, using metaphors. Week 11, here we start getting into some really deep stuff and releasing it. Family entanglements, removing our suffering obligations of love, rewriting our DNA. Is this exciting you? And 12, the matrix, how it all really works in the double bubble. All right, so I've been through this process twice already myself, I've said. Something cool is that I will just say as well, if you're part of the group program, so if you join me one-on-one, I'm going to give you access to the group as well. If you are in the group, you're always going to be in the group. You'll be alumni. Alumni can go through this process over and over again. Okay, even in my beta training, one of the things, you know, I got through the first group and they're like, I need this, can I do it again? You know, so the people that went through my first group, well, they were straight back for the second group. Me, I found it, yeah, it was amazing the first time I went around. Second time was like, boom, you know, and I really want to make sure that that's built in to whatever, you know, if we do work together, that you've always got this process to support you. All right. You go to full training, it's got everything included. Talked about them. Okay, you know who this works for. It works for anyone committed to learning. Why you don't get started? A, you don't like me, but I don't think you'd be here if you didn't resonate with me on some level after this time. Okay, you think you're not ready. Did I think I was ready when I was on the sales conversation for that course that changed everything? Hell no. I thought I was joining an effective entrepreneur challenge so I'd be more effective in my life in very practical, strategic ways. I was not ready for that. No one, and that's the key thing to understand, is no one is quite ready for the coaching that is right for them. You know, even when I look back to other coaching I've done in the past, there's always been that leap of faith. Because that's it. If you could get it, if it was already kind of in your circle, you'd already be using it, you know, because it's just outside of reach and you're never quite ready for it. And that's the beauty of coaching, is to help take you across that threshold. So you're never going to feel quite ready for the right coach for you. Okay, so I've just got a few testimonials from some people I've coached. This is Jesse. He's a martial arts world champion. He's just one of these insane people that just are massive achievers. And he's got heaps of nice stuff to say about me, but just one of the things, top-notch mindset ninja with efficiency codes dialed in. So, you know, I've really helped Jesse streamline his action, get his magnetic point going, and he's just feeling on top of the world at the moment, which is amazing. Ricky is a previous coach that I wasn't quite ready for, but propelled me through, you know, a number of barriers. And he said, Helen's a gun, you know, head coach at Ultimate Performance Academy. Highly recommend you follow Ricky. And Yo, like she's smashing it, and I'm so honored to call her a friend. She said, Helen is passionate about you living your fullest, brightest life. Working with her means you have someone deeply focused on your goals while providing the love and support you need to reach them. She recommends me. She works with people like Jack Canfield. She's from Singapore. She's just smashing it in the area of positive psychology. She's just an amazing friend as well. So, and she's a mum. No, she's just beautiful. And who else have we got here? It's a bit weird putting these in, but yeah. So Val, he's the guy that trained me in the MAP methodology. Remember, it's one of the cutting edge, most powerful tools on the planet for subconscious change. From day one, Helen has always been a person with tremendous energy, focus, and openness to learn. I have taught many coaches from all over the world, and Helen has always stood out as someone who has a hunger for the knowledge and skills to help herself and the people she serves. This is really, I've never actually read my own testimonials out loud before, so this is a bit of a strange experience. So thank you, and send me some support as I wade through these weird vibes. And Chris Duncan, of course, Helen takes massive action. She walks her talk. Over the last 2 years, I've seen her take herself on. I've told you this story, push through her limits and create a life she totally loves. I've coached over 8,000 people and Helen stands out. If you want to live a life that you scream F yes to, you should hire Helen. So, you know, and it is kind of about standing out. If you want to stand out in your life, and the people that, you know, will take notice of you, that can help you move in the direction that you're going, you must change your magnetic point, because they'll tell. We can tell if people aren't quite, you know, vibing with us, can't we? You know, and this is ultimately what it's about. You know, the fact that from one point when I was looking at Chris Duncan being this guru on the stage that's telling me all this stuff, I'm like, oh, imagine being like him, and now I'm in his inner circle. You know, he's one of my closest supporters. That just speaks volumes, and I don't even care about what that means in terms of money or anything like that. I don't care. It's, for me, this is again that pure goal. It's about having fun, just being with amazing people, stretching myself, learning, growing, and that I get to do it with the stellar humans, the cast of stellar humans that I just laid out in front of you. That's amazing. All right, so yeah, I don't really have anything more to say. That's the end of the training. If anything jumps out at you and you want some clarity around anything, reach out to me. What I am going to offer you is what I want to do now is, if you feel like you're ready for coaching and you feel like perhaps I might be the coach for you, then we can do a full strategy session together. Okay, I love strategy sessions. It's not just a quick, like, skim over the surface type things. And we'll spend about 90 minutes together. We're going to look at where you are now, where you're going, what is your thing. There'll probably be some other things as well. What are your sabotage patterns? Okay, we'll get to know each other a little bit. And then hopefully, you know, we'll either know then, yes, coaching with Helen is for me, or no, it's not. Okay, but one last thing I'm going to leave you with. This is super important. This is going to serve you throughout your life. Okay, there's a feeling. Okay, and I want you to get really familiar with this feeling. And it's around fear. And there are two types of fear. So there's one type of fear that is very self-serving in a very, very good way. And it is, you know, Helen, don't go jumping out of a plane. You know, some people want to. I don't want to. Scary. I don't really see any benefit for my life about it. I don't really want to do it. I'm quite happy going through my life, never jumping out of a plane. Okay? That's one type of fear. There's another type of fear, and it's mixed with desire as well. That's the fear that I was experiencing when, you know, I was on the phone call to buy that course that changed my life. I was experiencing the goddamn bloody same thing when I was on my call with Ricky, you know, to see whether I'm going to coach with Ricky. Oh, you know, part of me is like, yes. The other part of me is like, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this. It's scary. But the thing I know is when that feeling pops up, to take very good notice of it. Okay, and oh, it sucks too because it's like, oh shit, I got to do this thing now. There's the feeling, I got to do it. So my invitation to you is if you're feeling like coaching might be something for you and that I might be the coach for you. And this, you know, if we jump on a strategy call, there's no obligation. The whole point of it is for me to provide value, for you to get a feel for me to see if we think there's going to be value moving forward. Um, my challenge to you is to, you know, are you going to fall back to those old self-sabotage patterns? If this is the next step for you, this might be the next thing. You know, this might be your thing, you know, so you've got a decision to make. Are you going to fall back into those old self-sabotage patterns, or are you going to close your eyes and just book in a strategy session with me? And I'll make sure it's really obvious somewhere around this webinar how you can book in a strategy session with me. And they're heaps of fun. Even if we don't work together, you'll go away with a lot of knowledge and understanding about what your next steps will be in your life. So thank you so much for spending 2 hours with me today in this training. But as I said, it's really foundational. You know, I won't take anyone through this process. I won't coach anyone until they've been through this training. So it's really cool that we've got this out of the way, you know, which means if we do work together, we can dive right in and we've already saved 2 hours of your life that you can spend with your family or doing something fun or anything like that. So look, thank you for being here. If you've got that thing calling you, take note of it. It would not be real. It would not be there if it wasn't real, if it wasn't one of your potentials. All right. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to let you go. I really look forward to booking in some strategy calls and getting to know a few people a little bit better. I hope this was really valuable. I hope you take the awareness that you've got today and do something with it. Okay, otherwise it's going to eat into your self-respect. All right. Okay. I love you just for being here. I love you for acknowledging who you are and for having the courage to step forward on your life journey. All right. Okay. Take care.